Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ken Cinerelli. I'm going to talk to you about Windows Phone 7 development. Unlike Christina, I don't do Windows Phone 7 development on a daily basis. I develop in the .NET stack, but I kind of do this on the side as a fun little project. So I just want to take a quick show of hands. Does anybody here develop in .NET? Perfect. Anybody built a Windows Phone app?
Not Windows Phone, Windows Mobile.
Windows Mobile, yeah. Okay. So WPF or
No.
Silverlight or anything? No? Okay. So some of this might be new to you guys. They share a lot of the same code base. That's why I'm bringing it up. But you'll see as we go along, it's fairly simple. So I'm going to just do. I'm going to touch on just a couple of things with my Hello World. I'm going to stay mostly in the Visual Studio IDE, but I just want to touch on a couple of things. And again, all of my slides I'll give to Norman, and I'll put them up there, and I'll also put them on my own blog that you just saw there. So these are some of the resources you can use to get started. Just a quick note to correct Tom, the Visual Studio 2010 Express is a free copy of the IDE, so you don't have to buy anything. And the SDK can be installed into the Express and to get you up and running. So Microsoft's been pretty good about trying to get everybody free tools to get them on track to develop for Windows Phone. And then you can get additional functionality with the Windows Phone Toolkit if you need help, and then there's a free book that they put out through Microsoft Press.
What's the limitations of the Express?
There is no limitations. It's not like a 30-day trial or anything like that. You can go and it's a reduced tool set is basically what it is. So you can build apps, you can debug, you can do everything, but you might not get like code analysis tools and things of that nature. So
you don't get NuGet either. NuGet?
You don't get NuGet. Yeah,
What's
yeah.
that?
So, it's kind of like a package installer that they've just brought on. So yeah, but you can just go get the SDKs and install them yourself, kind of thing. So.
Can you use this on Mac?
Visual Studio?
Yeah.
Yep. It's Mac compliant. So
If you get the Express and later decide regular,
upgrade?
is it easy?
Yeah, you can just do an upgrade. I think all you have to do is just input your license key. So and then it'll give you the license that you purchased.
You have to download something else, though. You'd have to download the other one, wouldn't you?
You'd have to.
But you just upgrade the application and run the same project
Yeah.
files and everything.
Yeah. Your solution files would still work
They
across
could still
platforms.
work.
But yeah, exactly. So I'm going to, again, all these slides kind of walk you through what I'm about to show you, so I'm not going to do it there, I'm going to do it dynamically. So I'm going to create a project in Visual Studio, and again, I've got the premium version, so some of the stuff anything I'm going to show you, you can do totally on Windows Phone. And again, let's this thing come up quickly here. There it goes. Okay, so the Visual Studio IDE is I've already installed all the SDKs into it. Now Visual Studio 2012, they're going to come pre-installed in Windows Phone 7, or which will eventually become Windows Phone 8. So that SDK that I've shown you is only available for Visual Studio 2010. Once Visual Studio 2012 comes out, which I think is being released in about a week or so, you're going to be able to have all that pre-installed, so you won't even have to deal with that mess. So if you're into it, you can actually go right to Visual Studio 2012 Express and bypass that SDK install if you want. So when you click New Project, you're going to see that you get this box here. It's called Silverlight for Windows Phone. Originally, that's what they were going to call it. That's why I was asking about Silverlight and WPF, Windows Presentation Foundation. They all use a common language called XAML, Extensible Application Markup Language. And it's much like any other application markup language, like XML. It has angle brackets, and you work around with it. So right now, I'm going to create just a basic Windows Phone app. And you can kind of see here what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put it in just a simple project here. But I'm going to choose the basic one-page Windows Phone app. Now I can add additional pages to it as I go along if I wish. If I want to create something different, I can come down and create a panorama app. And a panorama app is something that you would see for Xbox. So this image here shares multiple pages. So you might have like a huge wide image, and as you page across it, your background is going to move with your pages. That's another one you can use. That's a little bit more complex, and it's kind of similar to the pivot. The pivot is the same thing. You can have first, second, third pages, and I'll show you what a pivot app looks like in my demonstration. You can just keep scrolling across, and it'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you can just keep moving between pages as many times as you wish. But for right now, I'm just going to do a phone application, which is just a single page.
You mentioned Xbox, so these can run on Xbox as well?
Yeah, you can actually create a, see this XNA Game Studio right here, you can actually create XNA-based games that run on the phone, and you can actually deploy them to an Xbox. So this is the exact toolkit that your Windows or your Xbox developers are using to push out games to the Xbox. And everything on the phone, they call their game hub is called Xbox. So it's all integrated to because they want you to use your avatars across your phone and into Xbox so that you can share your points and get your rewards and all that. So.
What about licensing? Like, do you have to pay to submit apps or anything?
Yes, it's $100 for Apple, right?
Yeah.
It's $100 for this one as well.
And does that cover Xbox as well?
Exactly, it covers everything, and it has I think it's unlimited apps. I think it's like over 100 apps or 150 apps, and I think it's about 35 Xbox games.
I thought Xbox was more like a $10,000 fee.
No. Well, I mean, this is to submit to the marketplace. Like, this is to submit to marketplace games. Now, you can run those games on the Xbox, but if you're going to want to market a game and then try to get it out to them, then you probably have to partner with them to get, they're on their side kind of thing. But any kind of game that you want to run through them, an Xbox game, you can build all through here. Yeah, it's a $100 fee, and you can, like I said, you can push as many as you want. But unlike iOS, you can build and create your projects without needing a developer license. Because with iOS, you need a developer license to
So
compile.
you should want
Right?
to test on hardware.
Yeah.
And so you can test on hardware?
Yeah, I can push it out, and I'll show you right now. I can push it right out.
Can people get hardware for for the Windows 8 phone stuff yet? Or
Windows
not
Phone
yet?
8?
Yeah.
It's not out yet, the Windows Phone 8. They will be coming. They've announced the new Nokias. I think they're shipping to stores and they're taking pre-orders, but they haven't
Okay,
come
but
out.
there's no dev. There's no early dev.
No. If they're out there, I don't have one.
So is
Do you
the
know, do you know if there's going to be any ruggedized devices for Windows 8?
I don't know.
Like, have you heard anything about the business grade?
No, I
version?
don't. No, I haven't heard anything. Even like on the Surface, I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything about that. So.
Okay.
I was curious, is the Windows 8 SDK available?
Not yet.
The Windows 8?
Yeah.
Oh, the Windows 8 SDK is, but the Windows Phone 8
Windows
SDK.
Phone.
No, sorry, it's been released. You had to apply and you had to submit a whole bunch of tell them what you did and all this, and I didn't qualify. I know a couple of people who didn't qualify, so I don't. It's a very select group of people who got the SDK, Phone SDK. So.
How much are the Windows Phone devices now? Like,
Probably this is probably free on a 3-year plan. I have no idea. Like, I mean.
Probably similar to Android.
Valerie at the back's got a nice Nokia. Those are the preferred phones now. Is that a 920 or a 900 or 800?
do you know how much it costs?
That's a 900, right?
That's a 900.
So he's got a 900, and you probably got like an 800 or a 900. So, how much you pay for it, Tom? Like,
I think it was like $100.
yeah. So it's like a standard phone now. They're coming down. So.
Probably 400 or
Was the
500.
guy from Microsoft who said you can get your phone if you actually develop it?
Yes, and thanks. I was going to mention that if you are building an app and you want to test on a form factor or on a device and you need a form factor, you can actually request one from Microsoft and we'll ship one to you, and you can have it for like a month. Play around with it and then send it back.
Is there a cost to that? Or is
No,
it-
it's all free.
Okay.
It's all free.
If you go to WinPro, there are the ladies there,
WinPro.
and Waterloo IT professionals, the ladies there, she'll hand it to you.
Oh.
So they're around. They're definitely around. Okay, so I'm just going to build this. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let me see. Oh, let me see if I can open an existing project.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you know why? I bet you. So, I just need to unplug the drive.
Uh-oh.
Apparently I can't type in front of the crowd.
Just press that show password.
Yeah. Then you gotta pry it out of my cold dead hands, right?
That would work.
Okay, let me try this again. Let's see if this will work. This is the one I built last night, but it kind of gives you the same thing. Okay, closing these windows. Okay, so this is the Visual Studio IDE. It's kind of similar to what you see in Eclipse, just some of the panels are moved around, and I mean, if you want to make it look like Eclipse, you can just drag and drop everything as you want. The basic project, though, is this. So I haven't added anything. This is what you're going to see on runtime. So as soon as you open up the project, this is what you're going to get. So you're going to get your main page.xaml, and again, XAML is the code that you're going to be writing in, but it's also the name of the class, and then you're going to have your code behind as well. These are various icons that are going to run depending on whether or not you pinned it, and I'll talk about pinning in a second. Pinned it to your start of your page, or if you just left it in your list of apps. And we also have a manifest file that's called WM app manifest file, and that's actually what's being shown right here. So you can kind of see again, you got your titles and everything, and this is what Microsoft's going to read when you submit your apps to kind of figure out if you're using your location services and whether you're using your camera and all that kind of stuff. So on the main page.xaml here, pull this out. This is XAML. So XAML again is very much, it's just a markup language. You have you have your angle brackets. Everything is you can use IntelliSense for everything. So if I want to type text block dot, it'll give you everything you need. So it's smart that way. And if I want to create a button and a text block, much like I did here, to create my hello world, I put it in. And it's right there. Now, the neat thing with XAML is that I can rearrange these. I can rearrange these two things, and these will not change because XAML is using margins. They're using margins to put everything, place every control on the page. So 62 from the left, 274 from the top. That's where it knows where it is. So I can rearrange all my code. I can flip them around. My buttons and my text blocks aren't going to change. So they're always going to be the same.
Does all the hardware have the same resolution?
Yes, yeah, and that's the one thing which you probably found was with 6.5, you have to target different manufacturers and all that.
Yeah.
With 7, Microsoft locked everything down. So they're in charge of all the hardware on these phones. So it's write once, run anywhere, basically. So if it's an HTC, a Samsung, an LG, whatever it is, they're all the same. You can guarantee it's 800 by 480 is the screen size.
So all the camera APIs, all of that's all standardized?
It's all standardized, yeah. And even with the next rollout of Windows Phone 8, it's all going to be standardized again. So.
Is it worth learning the 7 with 8 so close? Like, will there be a lot of things you have to relearn, or?
No, not at all. So Microsoft has come out and said that, so this was originally a Windows Phone 7 device. They've come out with a new upgrade, which is Windows Phone 7.5, which is codenamed Mango. And then when they've announced Windows Phone 8, everyone was excited because they thought, I'm going to be able to get Windows Phone 8 on this. That's not going to be the case. This is only going to go as high as Windows Phone 7.8, which is pseudo Windows Phone 8. It's going to have some stuff, but it's not going to have everything. It's not going to have the high def screens and all that sort of thing. So you're going to be able to simulate it, but it's not going to work. That being said, any app you write on Windows Phone 7.5 will transport to Windows Phone 8. So you don't have to recode anything. You don't have to recompile anything. It'll all just be native and it'll all just pick up. Another quick thing I just want to mention is that some of these, I've heard this question a couple of times, and other people have asked me, or I've heard it tonight as well, as if I write something for Windows Phone 8 or Windows Phone 7.5, can I use it on Windows 8? And the answer is kind of. This XAML is what you're going to be using to write anything in Windows 8. With a caveat, you can actually use HTML5 and JavaScript to write a Windows 8 application, or you can use C# and XAML to write a Windows 8 application. But that being said, you can't take this code and drop it on a Windows 8 project and expect it to compile. It won't. It's not that transparent. However, if I build a class that maybe does currency conversion or whatever, I can take that class and drop it on a Windows 8 project and it'll run smoothly. So that kind of thing. So I mean, if you want to compartmentalize your code and start thinking about doing it that way, you could then
so basically just the views won't run. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
But everything else will.
Yeah, and I'm actually experiencing a problem right now where I have an application where I'm using Bing Maps and it works perfectly on the phone, but I can't get it to work on Windows 8 because it deprecated some of the classes and some of the namespaces, so I can't get it to work. So.
Does the 7 actually handle like auto flow UI, like flow layouts and that kind of thing, or do you have to specify the margins being exactly the XY coordinates?
No, it'll do the auto flow and everything. Like, I mean, you can anchor as well if you want, much like you can in Visual Studio. So you can anchor a button, and when you pull when you pull on the corner, it'll move with it and scale and everything. So you can do all that kind of anchoring as well. So if I run this quickly, you just kind of see that I'm not lying here. My emulator. What are you doing? It's because I had the emulator running because it takes so long to run. Again, this emulator, this is the emulator. You can kind of see it here. It takes a long time to start, but once it's running, you never want to shut it down because then you get it takes a long time to get back up and running again. Let me just, I think I have to close it.
Do you have to do the docking and everything with this one too?
I'm sorry, the docking?
Like, what do they call it? Dock your emulator so that it knows it. So.
Oh no. Oh, I kind of know what you mean. Yeah. I can show you that in 1 second here. I'll do the test and I'll come back and tell you and explain. So that's my Hello World button and a text box.
Can you show us the code part?
I can definitely. Let me just stop this.
I don't know if that's something that they do in 7, but I know with the 6, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah, and again, right here, I can choose to export it to a device or the emulator right there. So all I have to do is, if I want to export it to the device, just plug it in and make sure Zune is running. Now, Zune is kind of like the cheap man's iPhone or iTunes. So you have to have, everything goes through Zune. And originally, all the apps were through Zune, but now they've spread it out into a website, so that you can't buy applications through Zune anymore. But you still need Zune to coordinate everything.
I've heard through rumors that Zoom is going away.
Yeah, I would imagine eventually it will, just because I don't know anybody who uses it. Now they've launched Xbox Music and all that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that'll kind of take over eventually. But you have to have Zoom running, and you have to have your phone unlocked to push it to the device. And let's see the code. So this, come on. That is my code. So on my button click event, I'm just sending a hello world to my text box.
And that button click was in the file we were just looking at?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, because I didn't build it out because I was getting errors. I know I'm pressed for time here. So my button here.
So how to open
Yes.
Yeah. So my button here is.
Oh, there, click, yeah.
Yeah. It's just got a button click event, and the text box just receives the text. So, does anybody want to see it pushed out to the phone? Do we have time? Do you want to care?
How are we doing for time?
It's
Let's see.
8:25.
Good.
Okay. Well, I can stop there, and then we'll take a break.
Let's see it. Yeah.
Oh, you want to see it?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Let me do this quickly.
I got a question.
Okay. Shoot.
jQuery mobile.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned JavaScript earlier. Can you do that in jQuery mobile?
I haven't tried it. I think you can. Can you, Tom? I don't know. I've never seen anybody try and do it.
Yeah. I have yet to try it, so.
Yeah, I've never tried it. Sorry, can't tell you. Again, I don't know anybody who's done it that way. So here, let me just make sure I got Zoom up and running. I'm on my phone, and I will push this up to the device. And again, if anybody wants to, if anybody's never seen a Windows Phone device or they want to see one, I have one, Tom has one, and Valerie has one. So we can show you what it's all about. So there's my app, my little button, and there's my Hello World. So that's it. That's all I had to do was just change that drop box, make sure Zoom is running, and make sure my phone was unlocked, and I can push it out. Now, if I want to rerun it, it is in. It's in my list as Hello World, so I can launch it again if I want. And it's there. So as soon as I unplug this, it's going to stay there until I delete it.
If you weren't a developer, would you still choose Windows Phone for your phone?
Yeah, I actually quite like the interface, and for what it is, the selection of apps is. But I mean, that's obviously up to me and Tom and whoever else wants to develop apps to get or offer buttons and develop something. But I actually quite like the layout. Anybody I've showed it to is said, wow, this is really cool. It's nice and actually, it seems like BlackBerry's kind of going that way too. The big tiled interface and stuff like that. So that Metro style design. So.
What about the application lifecycle? If you go go to the home page, will the app continue to run or go into some kind of hibernate mode?
It will tombstone, what they call tombstone. So it will, if you've gone away from it and you've launched another device, say you want to go read your email or something, it'll tombstone in the background. And again, much like the BlackBerry, if you have enough of those tombstoned apps, it'll start killing it. It knows what the earliest ones were, and it'll start closing them down because it knows that it's running out of memory.
Can you say don't close me?
No. It's Microsoft manages all of that.
Okay,
It's a
so they
whole-
don't, like on iOS, certain apps can say don't close me, like VoIP and stuff, so you can't do that with.
No,
Okay.
no. Not if it's in memory and it's hit that cycle, it's gonna go.
Is there automatic serialization when an app goes into a tombstone state, or do you have to code that yourself?
Do you mean like saving and all that?
Yeah, because state.
Generally, you want to save that state before. As soon as you lose focus, you're going to want to save that state. So there's isolated storage and that kind of thing. So if you're running a game and you want to save that person's score or whatever, you're going to want to save those preferences when it goes out of focus, and you can do that.
Is there any sort of gotcha with iOS, it'll kill you dead 5 seconds after you lose focus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Android has a time limit set, but at the same time you might get blown away at any moment.
Right.
Is Windows timed?
No, it's not timed. It's memoried. So if it has memory, it'll hold you. But
Okay,
if
so
it,
same as Android.
yeah. So, but if you run out of memory, then you won't.
But it's got a lot of memory.
Yeah. Oh, tons. Yeah.
So, like-
Yeah. And you can always get to your backstack by holding down the back key, and you can always see what you have in memory. So you can elect to repopulate or redo it, and then kill it yourself if you want to.